In the words of Tone Loc, let's do it. Not a problem. Hey, welcome back to Lowballin' Outdoors. I'm Alex. Today we got ourselves a super sweet little 22. This is a Rossi Model 62. This is a copy of the Winchester Model 62. This thing's a sweet little rifle. Let's take a look at her right now. These little guys are considered takedown models. They do have a takedown screw right here, you know, in case she jams or something. Their pump actions, look at this. Oh yeah, how cool is that? Pump action 22. This thing has really nice wood on it. A super slick little trigger. And of course, this is the stainless model. We got a classic sighting system. Check this out. It's just very basic, but it should get the job done, especially when you're planking squirrels and cans and all that kind of stuff. This thing's crazy accurate. It's so much fun. You guys ever used a pump action 22? Let me know in the comments. Even though they're just a blast to play with and take out, how well can she shoot? That's what we're gonna find out today. Well, let's get to the bench and just do that. So this thing's tube fed. There's quite a few people that don't care for the tube fed stuff. It really doesn't bother me. Basically, you pull up the tube. They got a little hole right here. You stick your projectiles in it. Now this thing will hold 14 22 longs, but this rifle will also take 22 long rifle and shorts. Kind of gives you a little variety of sorts. Well, let's go ahead and plank this thing down there at the 25 yards and see what we come up with. Okay, do you know what the best part about any pump action is? You're about to listen to it. Oh yeah, that is like the quintessential sound of any pump. But let's go ahead and get to planking this thing and see what we're going to be doing. Now we're going to be planking that top target. Yeah, that thing ejects with some authority. Okay, so we had a jam on this one. What do you do with a 62 that jams? Well, there's only one way to stinking fix this issue. So the first step is always, you know, make your rifle safe. So we're going to unload the rest of them. There's two. We sent two down range, and we have one that's jammed up in here. Now, seeing as though these are the takedown models, they came with a takedown screw right here. This is the only way to get this unjammed. The screw goes all the way through to this side right here. So basically, you just turn it, make them loose. Now that will stay in here, it won't come out, it's trapped. And you give her a little pop and they break apart. They did this so you could store it, and it's much easier to store that way when you're taking it somewhere. We pop out the empty, and then we can zip that out. Bingo, there she goes. Alright, stick them back together. This is what all that mechanism in there looks like. Little feed levers and all that jazz. Alright, so we'll go ahead and close it. And putting it back together is a very simple process. You just slide it all back together. that is slotted in here, so yeah, stuff's always harder to do on camera. But there you go. It made it together. You make sure it's all lined up in that hole there. And you give her a tighten back down. Pretty simple process, but let's go ahead and get her loaded with the last three and see what we can come up with. We're back in business. Now they made that where it's fairly easy to take apart. Even in the field, you just kind of give it a little wiggle and she comes apart. But let's go ahead and knock down these last three, shall we? So what? I kind of like to see how accurate all these little 22s are. It's just astonishing to me. I don't know. It's just super cool to see how accurate they can be, or will be. And there's number 5. Let's run down there and look at it. See how accurate she is. Boom. Definitely minted a squirrel for sure. Look at this. It's actually about a roughly 1.5 inches, 1 square, half square, roughly 1.5 inches. That ain't too bad for just flopping around a bag and getting to plinking with it. This thing's been a blast so stinking far shooting it, but let's do something just a little bit different. Let's test the true power of any 22, you know, like we did when we were kids. All right, guys, just like we were kids, the 62A, we got out there about 20 yards, a couple of pop cans. That's definitely a minute squirrel all day. If I've ever seen minute a squirrel, a pop can is minute a squirrel. But let's go ahead and see what we can come up with. Yeah. 1. No problems. Oh. And we're out. That one stinking didn't knock over. Let's see what happened. Oh yeah, she's riddled with holes in her. She got holes all over. This ain't a problem for any 22. This is probably the ultimate test for any 22 lover. Popping cans, just like we did when we were kids. Yes, we had a little bit of problems on the bench, but it's not super hard to fix. Even in the field, if you're out in the woods squirrel hunting or whatever. This thing is super cool just to have in your collection. Have you guys ever messed with a Rossi 62? Let me know in the comments. It is really cool to hear from all you guys' experience with this stuff, because, you know, I get an experience of one. All right, guys, until next time, let's keep it cheap.